So what I'd like you to try to do is write a program that will call another function print grade, not return grade, just print grade, that will determine and then print the letter grade based on a given score, okay? So your function is not supposed to return anything. It's only supposed to print the actual grade, the letter grade, based on the given score that you're going to send to the function. So for clarity, you're going to write a function that's going to expect one parameter. So it's going to have one formal parameter. Call it score. Like make the name of the variable score, for example. And inside that function, you have to think of the code. If score is greater or equal to this, print A. Else if score is greater than this, print B. Okay, and I think most of y'all know that an A is greater or equal to 90, B greater or equal to 80, C greater or equal to 70, D greater or equal to 60. Otherwise, unfortunately, the grade would have been an F. So write a function called print letter grade. Make the name of the function print letter grade. Write that down. Print letter grade. It takes in one parameter, a score. And don't be coding this yet, because when you're going to go to breakout rooms, I want you to code it with your breakout room so people can watch, if those who are trying to follow along. And then print that letter grade within that function. Also, I want you to have another function called main. So since I did that very quickly, so let me come back here. So what is your main function? Any of this stuff, even my module 6 notes, basically, if I want to make functions of any code that we've ever done, let's say we were looking at this multiplication table program. Here's this multiplication table, right, from last time. You can see my code, Ibrahim? Head nod. Cool.
Yeah.
So what if, because basically in other languages, in order for your program to run, you need to have a main function. Like if you don't have a main, the program doesn't run. So the way we simulate that in Python is we say, you know what, now that we've learned functions, we would like to mimic what other languages do. So everything from here on out, whenever you're doing any coding in Python, even if you're just trying to print hello world, imagine, I'm going to make a brand new program right here called hello world. So we're going to call it new hello world. And this is how you should do it from here on out. You should say define main print hello world. And here we call our main. If we were if Python worked like other languages, this would have been our first program of the bootcamp. Now, because Python doesn't work like other languages and we don't need any function to type, we can just type directly. This was our first program of the bootcamp. Okay? But in fact, from here on out, even just to say, hi, my name is Bob, I want you to do that in a function main. So I would have come to this multiplication table, and instead of coding all of this on its own, I'm going to take all of that. I'm going to tab it over. I'm going to call this define main, and I'm putting everything in a main function. Anything that does not belong in its own special unique function, put it inside a main function, and then of course make sure you call main. So you need to always have your call to main. So here was our multiplication table. So basically from here on out, any program you do, even the smallest of programs, hello world, you should put it inside a main function. So what I'd like you to do is write this function called print letter grade, as we've already described. It takes one parameter, the score, and it has just an if nested, an if, else if, else if, else if, else statement that prints A, B, C, D, or F based off of that score. Also make a main function that asks the user to enter a score. Pay attention here. Make a main function that we ask the user to enter your score, just as an integer. Let's not complicate it. Enter the score. And then we should print out the grade is. And then on the next line, we're going to call the actual function print letter grade. We're going to send over to that function the score that the user entered. And that function is going to print A, B, C, D, or F. Okay? So hopefully that is clear. Okay, I want y'all to give this a shot, and I'm going to go make the breakout rooms very quickly. Let's see. And we have David. Good. Bear with me just one moment. Cool. So here we go. Open all rooms. So again, for the video, let's come back to PowerPoint. This was print letter grade. So file, new, save, and module 6. No. I'll just type it up. We need to have a main, define or print letter grade. It's going to take a score. We have just a series of if statements. So if score is greater or equal to 90, print A. Elif score greater or equal to 80, print B. Elif score greater or equal to 70, make this 60, D, C, and then finally else print F. Okay, there's our print letter grade function. We need to have our main. In our main, we need to ask the user for the value for score. Score equals int input, enter your score. Enter the score, whatever, enter the grade. I'll say score. And just to stay consistent, notice I did that on one line, which is the Pythonic way, but just to stay consistent with what we've been doing, I'll make this as a single print statement. Enter the score. And then I'll simply say score equals int input. Okay. And now with that score entered, we need to print the letter, the score. What do I want to print? I want to print enter a score 84. The grade is B. Okay. So the grade is, and then here I'm going to call the print letter grade and I send over score. So there's our main, and then we need to call our main. So let's save this so we can run it. And print letter grade program. Okay. Enter a score 92, the grade is A. Enter a score 78, the grade is C. Enter a score 58, the grade is F. Okay, so that is just there for the video for those who want to reference this, and let's go check out how y'all are doing.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Is this what we were supposed to do, right?
But can we get everything there should be nothing that's not in a function. That looks very close, but there should be nothing that's not in a function. Nope, that's going to be in your main.
Is it still going to be able to be called though? Because it's not going to, is it still going to know? That's why I didn't put it there, because I wasn't sure if it would like know what score was since it was called first.
Yeah, so you want to send over score on line 16. You want to put score inside the, can you call that print letter grade, the name of the function, print letter grade?
Here?
No, instead of grade, define grade, print letter grade. Yeah. Nice. and then double click that print letter grade. Double click, copy it, Control C, and then double click grade below and Control V or Command V. Need parentheses. So yeah, within those parentheses, you need to type the word score. And then above, you need to type the word score that you're sending over. Yep.
Okay.
And so only thing, put a print statement on line, like make it after line 14, hit enter and make a print statement. So you're prompting the user to like enter a score. Colon space, yep, and put end equals. Yep, so now run that and see if that works as we expect. Nice, cool. And only one other thing in observation, I'd put an enter after line 17, just so you can see that the call to our main, sorry, after line, you can hit, yeah, after line 17. Yeah, just so you can separate the call from the main. So line 19 is calling the main function on line 14, but yours is working perfectly. Nicely done. Let me go check on the other groups. Or not. No, here. Let's see, let me try that again. It looks like y'all are basically there. Nicely done. Who's coding this? David.
Yeah.
Nice.
I also didn't call it main. I called it start, my bad.
That's
Do
fine.
you need it called main?
Nope, I would make sure you get in the habit of calling a main, but yeah, that looks great.
Right.
Nicely done. Let me go check out the last group. Uh-oh. Do we have red? Is it working?
I was just testing that. Yeah, this is working. I was testing if I could cast a number to a character, but apparently it doesn't exist.
Cool. So it's working correctly?
Yep. Let me run it for you. All right. Enter grade. So we got a 65. We got a D. Yay.
Nicely done.
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to have everyone come back. Okay, so this today was simply an introduction of functions. Hopefully that gives you a feel for them, how they work in Thani and Python. You've done a couple of examples. Let me see, Ibrahim, can you quickly, or how about David? Is David here yet? Yeah, David, can you show yours?
1 second. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay. Don't think so. How do I even do that? I don't know. Yeah, Ibrahim, can you share? It says the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
I have not done that. Maybe they have. I mean, we've heard about Zoom in the news, so maybe here. Let me hit security down here. There's a security button. Wow. So I'll have to go figure that out. That must be a newest update they've done, because I know I don't disable screen sharing, as you see. I like y'all to use it, but they keep going through security issues. They're trying to make it more secure. So I have to go figure that out now for next time. But nevertheless, I actually coded it before visiting the room. So just very quickly, I'll show a solution. But all of y'all already had it correct, as I noticed. So this is what I coded up prior to visiting the rooms. Which you'll see in the video if anyone wants to go look at the video afterwards. I have my print letter grade function. I have my main function, and I have main. Okay, so my main is really what's starting the program. Then I come to my main function, enter the score, I get the score, I print the grade is, and then here I call my print letter grade function, and I'm calling it on its own line. Why? Because it's a function that merely prints something. Okay. It's a function that merely prints something. If instead of printing something, let me make this, instead of print letter grade, how about return letter grade? Can someone tell me, if I wanted you to do this, what would you change in your code? So here, let's spend 3 more minutes. Go to your breakout rooms real quick. Let's do that. and see what you do if instead of printing within this function, I want you to actually, I'll give you a head start. I want you to do this, return A. Look at what I typed. Look at my code, please, carefully. Instead of putting, or how about I'll call this, check this out. I'll say letter grade equals A. And then down here at the bottom, the last thing of the function, I'm going to say return letter grade. Okay? So letter grade equals A. I need to do that for each one of these and see how I can change the function. Instead of printing the letter grade in the function, returning it, which means I need to catch it within my main and print it within my main. See if that in any way makes sense. I think in the breakout rooms, I remember the rooms the way they were set up. I think all of y'all can do that. Very quickly, I'll come visit you. Again, just doing this for the video. Letter grade is A or B or C or D or F. Return letter grade right here. And I'm thinking it was mistyped. Okay, and then the letter grade is boom. And here I'm going to call it instead of print letter grade, I'll call it get letter grade. And that should work. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Oh, dot format, that's fantastic. Let's try that again. Letter grade is F, 100. The grade is A. So I see that what's happening when you run this, Chloe?
I ran it and it just doesn't print anything. So I was trying to figure out what I needed to add.
Yeah, so remember, so we said that if you are printing within a function, then you would write that function on its own line, right? So basically, if you were printing up here within that function, then you would absolutely call that function on its own line right here like you did. But we're no longer printing within that function. What's the result of this function up here? The result is it returns the actual string A, B, C, D, or F, right? It returns that string. So why don't you, so you would, go ahead.
We just like do that.
Yeah, you could actually just, if you just wanted to print it, yeah, just type print. Yep, perfect. Run that. Nicely done. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And in fact, with that in mind, see if you can change line 18 to use a formatted print statement to say your letter grade is, and then call the function within that formatted print statement. You need placeholder. Yep, you don't even need it. Yep, perfect. Here your letter grade is. That's exactly it. Just one more parentheses. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Nice. Run that and see. Perfect. Nicely done. I'm going to check on the other two groups real quick. Is it finished or no?
I'm just pasting in. Wait, one more thing.
What is this NF?
Basically, I don't want to have to put parentheses around the N, kind of like this run over here. So I fixed it. So now
Okay, but I'm not seeing an equal sign. Line 3.
I should probably put that. Yeah, that would probably be smart. Fail.
And then when you're done, put an enter after line 13, please.
After, yeah.
Yeah, because those functions are too close to each other.
And now if we enter a 100, you got an A versus we got an 85, we got a B.
Nicely done. I'm going to go visit the last group. Sorry it took long to get in here. I assume y'all are done?
Yeah, I just returned each thing back into X and then printed X.
Yep. Perfect. Nicely done. I'm going to bring everyone back to the main room. Okay, so I visited all of the groups. You all had good solutions, and I would like to ask you to show your solutions. Unfortunately, I'll have to go figure out what Zoom is doing and thinking. So as usual, prior to going to the room, I simply coded up a solution, which you can see here, where I have my, instead of print letter grade, notice I renamed it to get letter grade, right? And in my haste, I put an extra space unnecessarily. No harm, no foul, it just doesn't look good. So here, get letter grade, and here's my main function. And this time, I printed the grade is, and I put my curly brackets, and I printed within formatted printing, and within the format is where I called the get letter grade function. So if the score was 88, the result of get letter grade score right there will be B, which then gets printed right there within those curly brackets. Okay. Any questions? We've gone over time today, but the purpose. No, these boot camps, by the way, I've done a boot camp on teaching Python or Java in 1 week. I've also done a 2-week boot camp, but of course, the shorter it is, the more hours you spend. I think our 1-week boot camp, we spent that time, I believe it was 6 hours a day, or maybe 8 hours. I think it may have been like 8 to 5 with lunch, and they fed us. In the 2 weeks, I think we did like maybe 10 to 3 or 10 to 2. So here on this longer boot camp, just even though it's 7 weeks, it's hard to cover everything in just 2 Zoom sessions of 40 minutes each. It's really, really hard. So this is where we depend on y'all, which y'all are doing a great job of doing the replets. And it was brought to my attention that I was heedless again, and I forgot to release. I won't even blame it on Replit. It was actually on my end. I forgot to go release those additional looping questions. So I'll go do that right now. And anyone who just wanted that extra practice, which was harder practice on nested loops, I will release those now. Any questions before we end?
Is there a way to, like in NetBeans, when I create a new Python program, to just have it by default create a main method or a main function and then call said function?
Within Thani?
Correct.
I don't believe so. Thani is not intended for all of the, Thani is not a cool or technical IDE. Thani is a fantastic educational learning IDE. Absolutely, it is not a technical IDE that developers would use. So yeah, the answer I think would be no on that. Cool. Heads up for those of you, several of you were very kind. I had asked anyone who can send a picture who would like to be in an article from Florida Southern to send a picture, and I got pictures from several of you. I appreciate that. Anyone else who still would like to be in that, we would love to include you. Feel free to send a picture, but a heads up for those who did send a picture, heads up, I'm going to respond to you because they contacted me. Of course, they need a release to be signed by parents. So I'm going to respond to your email with a release that needs to be just a form to be printed, filled out, or filled out before you print it, and then signed. And if you can take a photo of it, please. You don't have to scan it. Just take a photo of it and shoot it back by email. I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, as usual, bid you a nice afternoon, and I will see you all on Thursday. Take care.